Bobby,
What's up, man?
it's February 21st, 2022, and there's one question on everyone's mind. You're dead. Still dead? Or signs of life? What do you think, Bob?
I think they had a strong weekend, man. I think they it definitely feels better than it felt coming out of the Royal Rumble. So,
Okay. This
it's
is
not
going
a
to be
high bar to
interesting.
clear, but
I'm intrigued. I feel you and Oracle may have very differing takes on what happened this past Saturday. Oracle will be here very shortly. He is concluding his viewing of a 1995 Extreme Championship Wrestling episode. He will be
fair.
prepared for Thursday's Historical Oracle. It looks like, anyway. I'm very
Yeah.
excited about that. So he will be here shortly, and we will be talking about all things WWF. I have not seen very much, I have to say, but I am, here to kind of lead the conversation and steer things, and most importantly, keep Bob out of trouble. That's the key, right, Bob?
Yes, absolutely.
I also want to stress that I have not downloaded the video, J Shell. I know that I had 4 hours to do that, but I was busy playing NBA 2K and enjoying myself. So,
Fair.
I'll probably do it sometime next month. I'm sure it's fine, right, Bob?
Yeah, it's all right. I know me and Oracle are actually on the same page for a couple things. We were talking during the show, so maybe we won't be as far off as you think.
Oh my God, you did! You went behind my back with some creative meetings.
He DM'd me, man. I wasn't expecting it. I don't like to bother Oracle. He's busy with stuff, and he reached out to me. So,
speaking of meetings, Bob, let's do one here while we wait for Oracle. You see this from J Shell, the new free agent signing here at the Late Night Grin. You see this. I don't want to describe what that is, but you get what you get. Your thoughts, Bob, on what appears to have been a real shift in attitude from our new signing, who appears to be, I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it, appears to be lashing out, Bob. I have to be honest.
yeah, she was nice to you for like a week, and now she kind of fits in and treats you like everyone else does.
It's interesting. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm still adjusting. There was one point earlier today, Bob, where I told JC my favorite match on the Impact pay-per-view, and she said "fuck off," which I thought was a little bit much personally, but
My
we
God.
all like Jay White differently, Hopefully Oracle is less aggressive when you tell him that you popped for Brock Lesnar's triumph at the Elimination Chamber. As I said, he'll be now. From what I can gather, Bob, there's no preview for tonight's program.
Yeah, I've been waiting for that because they really, I know they do they tore up the script and rewrote it at 6:00 or whatever, but they haven't really been doing that lately. Like we usually get a couple things in the afternoon, maybe one announced on the actual show the week before. So either they have something big planned or they just don't know what they're doing tonight.
Well, that is the elephant in the room, and I will ask the question here, and of course I'll ask it to Oracle when he gets here. Is it going to happen, Bobby? Are we going to get Code Man tonight?
I don't know, man, because wouldn't you want to try and publicize that a little bit? I get the thing about surprises should be surprises, but he feels like he could actually bring some viewers over, right?
I honestly don't, and look, this could age poorly, like most of this show does. However, I have to be honest, this feels like the kind of signing where they would actually announce it to me. That doesn't mean it won't happen. That doesn't mean I can't be wrong. A week ago I said I don't think Alexa Bliss will be in the Elimination Chamber, and they quickly, quite violently, put an end to that. So we shall see. I will say that I'm not doing Monday Night Law tonight because Jason and I was able to do an earlier show, and moreover, just in case it happens, it's a big event, a big happening. I want people to enjoy it, even when it happens. If they announce it here in this next hour, we'll have a live reaction, so on and so forth. Now, as we wait for the arrival of our esteemed guest, fellow Grinner, who has just arrived in the StreamYard, I will take off this overlay so that his face does not go directly in the middle. Oracle, please put your thumb up if you're prepared to enter the prestigious Late Night Grin platform. I wish everyone could have seen the optimism and excitement in that thumbs up. How are you, Oracle?
I'm fine. Last night at about 2:15 in the morning, I was washing my mouth out with Listerine, and I was looking out to see if I could turn my hall light off.
Oh no!
And I couldn't reach the switch, so I said, So I was going to turn over to spit my Listerine out, and my temple collided very hard with door frame.
Oh
I left a knot on my head.
The physical injuries you sustained along the way, Oracle, it's quite concerning, honestly. I have to say, it does worry me slightly. Was it this way before the Grin? Was you getting injured this regularly before? Is this something we've brought into your life? I worry.
Well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that answer seems telling in its own way. All right. So here's the deal, folks. I have not watched Elimination Chamber. Oracle suggested that I check out the women's match. I saw some highlights. I saw some clips. So that's about all I can speak to. We have two experts on the matter here. I will ask you guys: would you guys rather review this show match by match, or would you rather review it in a sort of broader sense? We say, best match, worst match, that kind of thing. What would you guys rather do?
I mean, I'm fine with either one. There is like a down period in the middle. So maybe it's better to do like a broader sense, but whatever works.
Oracle, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we can. It's probably best to do a broad.
Right.
Broad.
We'll hit all the matches anyway, I think.
Yeah.
So it will just, So am I right in saying that I don't think I'm going out on a limb? I pulled up the cage match here, which has got a 2.23 rating. So they really enjoyed it over at Cage Match. It appears the best match on the show was either the Women's Chamber or Becky and Lita. Which would you guys like to start with? Should we start with the Women's Chamber?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Oracle had a grin that suggested he may not be on board with one of those two matches. Okay, we'll cover it. All right. So I saw some clips, and this looked to be a triumph in production on the WWE front in terms of the agenting. And also, I think it's fair to say, and maybe I'm being a little bit generous, but I think it was a pretty strong lineup. I think all these women have something to offer, and there wasn't like a Tamina or a real kind of Albert. Everyone had something to offer, and it looked like a good match. I'll start with you, Bobby. Thoughts on the Women's Elimination Chamber, and obviously I think we all agree on the finish being the right call, but the match itself first.
Yeah, the match itself was very good. Probably my favorite thing that they've done with the women since maybe the Bayley and Bianca stuff. I was thinking about that earlier today. I think it checked all the boxes. Everything kind of felt like it had a purpose. There weren't just eliminations that were confusing like we've seen in Elimination Chambers before. It just felt really well laid out. I think they only did 15 or so minutes with it. It wasn't particularly long, but
it was 15. And from what I can gather, they split the pod time to 2-minute intervals, right? Rather than 5. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I like that. I mean, that's a good way to do it. And like I said, everything kind of felt like it had a purpose, which I think, we knew Bianca would look good. We knew Rhea would look good,
right.
But Doudrop and Liv looked good too. They did a really good job, I think, kind of establishing everyone.
Oracle, your thoughts on the Women's Elimination Chamber?
Yeah, this was really good. It was put together really well. I thought everybody got a chance to shine and looked good. I thought they used enough of the gimmick for it to work. The right people got put over and looked strong. Liv's bumping was great. That's Liv's strength, and she took some crazy bumps. Rhea Ripley looked awesome. Alexa Bliss impressed me because she hasn't wrestled in 6 months and went in there and had a pretty decent showing. Bianca, of course, looked great. Man, Bianca and Rhea had a cool face-off in there, and I'm hopeful that Bianca, wins at Mania, and we get a Bianca Rhea program in the spring. Yeah. That's what I'm hoping for.
Because it seems like they know what they have with Bianca and Rhea, and they want to do it at some point. So it's
right.
It's a big match. That could be a SummerSlam match. It could be Money in the Bank match. It's a big deal.
I want to circle back to a lot of those topics. I think they're actually worth discussing. Let's start with the big headline. Bianca Belair wins. She's headed on to wrestle Becky. Is this, give me an out of 10 in terms of your personal excitement? This match help in that regard? Are you still locked into this story, or is it more a case of, and if it is, there's no problem with this, but is it more a case of, let's get this over with and get the belt back where it belongs in the most polite way possible with Becky Lynch? Oracle, what do you think? Are you excited for this, or is it more the bridge you've got to cross? If that makes sense.
Maybe a little both. I think the program and match will be good, but I also think that Bianca badly needs to win this match.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing. I don't even think it's like a Becky thing, although I think she is definitely who's like someone who like has a lot of control and can say no, yes or no to whatever. I think it's whether or not Vince or whoever goes, yeah, I want this to happen. I think Becky's down for putting her over. Depends on whether or not the boss man wants it to happen, and that's always a, who knows. I'm hopeful. I think she will. I think the match will be really good. I think you could make an argument. It could main event night one, but I don't think it will.
Yeah.
I think that goes to Ronda Charlotte. I think this will get the hot spot on night 2. What I mean by that is it'll be right there in the second hour, when the crowd's the hottest.
Mm-hmm.
And that will help that a lot. So I mean, I'm looking forward to this, but I'm also ready for this to get back to being Bianca's thing.
Okay, Bob, your thoughts on that element of it? The destination that's now set, Becky and Bianca. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, again, we could talk about how it wasn't necessary to do or whatever, but we're here now, and I do think the feud's going to be very good. I think the match is going to be very good. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it.
I'll be honest, you guys, I don't have really any doubt about the result of this particular match. I think it's, and Oracle's right to say it, if certain people wake up in the wrong mood, but I think I'm pretty confident Bianca Belair's getting that belt at WrestleMania.
I am.
Yeah.
My concern would be, and I'm intrigued on your guys' take on this, and this is not me doing concern trolling and that stuff, guys. I'm just being honest here. With Ronda looming, will it be a case of it goes directly back to Becky within a month or two? Or are we in a situation here where you leave this program with Becky back as a babyface and you get ready to do this Ronda match next year? Because Becky and Ronda is still very much, I think, the end game. So that'll be interesting. Oracle, any thoughts on that kind of part of this whole thing?
I've thought about this. I think Bianca wins at Mania and has a run. I don't know how long it will be.
Right.
I think Becky sort of. I mean, somebody mentioned in the chat. I think it might have been JJ who said that the baby is on the road with them, with her and Seth. But I still think there's a chance she goes home for a little bit after Mania. And maybe if it's just for like a month or two, right? And then she comes back, does whatever. Maybe, I don't know. I'm guessing she gets. It doesn't seem like they're going to end the draft anytime soon. I feel like she goes to SmackDown. Ronda keeps the belt for a year,
right?
And then they do Ronda Becky in Hollywood next year.
Is there
and then Ronda's probably done for good after that? I don't know. I could be wrong, but
do we think there's a chance that the Ronda deal is more short term than that, and Becky and Ronda's the SummerSlam match, or do we think she's locked in for a year?
That's possible.
It feels like it'd be beneficial in some ways, doesn't it?
I'd be cool to see Becky Ronda because I think Bob and I will both be at SummerSlam.
There you go.
So I'm getting tickets to that since Nashville's 2.5 hours away from me. So
okay, that'll be fun. Bob, any thoughts on the kind of just quickly because we have a lot of time to wait. So I know it's hard to look too far ahead, but like that kind of element of how you prepare Becky for what seems to be the inevitable match with Ronda.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because, she hasn't been in a non-title feud for, 2.5 years or whatever now. So it's like, how are they going to do that? Is she going to get someone else over? And then I'm pretty confident that Becky and Ronda and Rock Roman are the main events next year. So I don't think they're going to do it beforehand. I guess they could. You got to fill a lot of stadiums. But, I think they're going to stretch it out till Mania somehow.
So I wanted to quickly focus in on one of the things you guys talked about, which was the Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley dynamic that they're establishing here. And I think Rhea, everyone knows how high I'm on her and Oracle 2 and Bob also, to maybe a little bit lesser extent, but even still, it struck me when I was watching some of the stuff they were doing that, they have an old school WWF program right in front of them with these two. Because it feels to me, and I say this as someone that loves Rhea and thinks she's money as a babyface, that the natural story here is Rhea Ripley gets awful tired of coming up short opposite Bianca Belair, right? Mm-hmm. And I'll be totally honest, this is not the sort of thing I really trust them with at this point. But I think we all agree there's That's a classic story that once upon a time they'd have really maximised. We'll see how it goes. We'll actually, we can only judge it as it happens. But do you think that's the natural kind of long game for these two as a pair, Oracle, or is it something else? What do you think?
That seems like the right way to go. I also think it's something that they could do, themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes the execution and what they actually do is always kind of up in there. I mean, heck, have we had any announcement for Raw tonight, as Bob pointed out about 30 minutes ago?
No.
Nope.
Yeah.
So, who knows?
Yeah, it's tough, right? It's a shame. Bob, any thoughts on kind of what they could do with this dynamic between the two women that you kind of feel like represent that new era, right?
Yeah.
Right or wrong, that's what it feels like. What do you think?
Yeah, like I said, I'm looking forward to it. Whether they do it at SummerSlam or whatever the stadium show in the UK is going to be, Money in the Bank, whatever. Just it's something fresh, and I think they both have a lot to offer, and I think they work really well together. I mean, we saw it a little bit in the Chamber, we saw a little bit in the Gauntlet match last week. We really just kind of scratched the surface on those two.
I wanted to, Oracle brought it up, and I actually text Bob about this over the weekend. I think Sean talked about this at pretty good length a while back, but Alexa Bliss would never be accused of being a great, in-ring kind of mechanic or whatever. She is very impressive in the sense that if you look at how many matches she's wrestled in the last couple of years, it's a very, very small number. But whenever you put her in there, she's on her game, right? She maximizes what she can do. And again, I only saw clips, but it appeared this was one of her stronger performances in some time. I'm really intrigued by where she should be on this card and what you get out of her. I answered the question, Jeff's in the chat, he asked me on Twitter and I answered it. I think her best role, I'm intrigued by your guys' take on this, is like upper mid-card babyface that the audience likes and respects and knows has been a top star, that you kind of rotate in and out. You use her to lift others up. Maybe she does some stuff in a team here. She has a non-title program there. At this point, I think there's other names to build around that make more sense for division's health. But I do think sometimes it can be kind of forgotten as you look towards the next women, the next generation, the next era. She's still got something to offer here, right, Alexa? She's a big, she's over with their live crowds. Bob, speak to that a little bit. Firstly, her performance, and then kind of where she fits in this division moving forward.
Yeah, I thought she was awesome in the Elimination Chamber. She came out and she still had the same music and the same, look and whatever. And I was like, oh, it's just going to be the same thing. And then she got in the ring and kind of just like working as a better version of that SmackDown run is really what I thought of. And that's cool. I mean, I still don't know where it's going to go. They apparently still have some therapy vignettes left. If they're just going to scrap them or keep them going, I don't know for sure. But yeah, there's something to that. She can definitely offer something going forward. I don't know that she necessarily needs to be a champion. I wouldn't care. I'd be fine with it. But and yeah, she has a dynamic where you can kind of plug her in and make it work, kind of like you said.
People react to her, man. And it's been something that you and I have often joked about, as regardless of what the current online discussion is. The live crowds have always reacted, and that continued even in front of this crowd. Oracle, thoughts on that kind of pitch that I very loosely laid out there? It feels like the women's division could use some names like that, right? That you don't completely destroy their cred, but you also have them just floating around in that non-title range. What do you think?
Yeah, it's kind of like the role Jericho had in his first run. I'm still frustrated with this half effort of getting rid of the character.
Yeah.
But not totally getting rid of it. And I'm not even a big Alexa fan. It's just frustrating. But I think she definitely has value there. If they cared at all about a tag division, she could definitely be utilizing that again.
Right.
But they don't. It's obvious. The tag champs have not defended their titles, and good Lord.
Yeah.
Carmella and Zelina have just been doing bad backstage skits, or putting out YouTube shows that Bobby will be reviewing here on my Grin. Yeah, she's very over. She's got a pretty good fan base. They've got to use her. She's just so charismatic.
Mm-hmm.
Which is helpful. I think that's the thing with her. She's actually good at she's weirdly enough, she's actually good at acting.
Yeah, she's got a weird skill set that we're not kind of used to, I think, in wrestling.
It's I'm not saying you could throw her on
right.
in Hollywood, but of course there's Sasha Banks and Roman Reigns and all the other people, and it's sometimes you're thinking,
yeah.
But
it is strange, right? Because you wouldn't describe her as a great promo. Like, she's a good talker, but she's not going out there.
She's confident. She's confident.
Yes,
she's confident in her delivery. She's
right.
she doesn't stumble. She doesn't hesitate. She's strong on the microphone.
Do we think? Go ahead.
No, you're good. She's valuable, and they need to use her. And they need to. It doesn't even mean that she has to be in the main event scene anymore, right? It's just she's got to be. Her value's there, and they're just not really capitalizing on that.
I think just having her wrestle more is a good start. So hopefully that's something they keep rolling here. Now, I'm intrigued by. It's been a constant talking point between us three. The non-title programs.
Let me interrupt real quick. Let me make sure to let Jay Shell know that I'm a huge that I'm a huge Sasha Banks stan.
Yes.
And I also enjoy The Mandalorian.
Yes, unlike Bob, who hates
Sasha Banks. She's a good stunt woman. Her acting is not the greatest, but she's an all-time great women's wrestler.
She is.
I love Sasha.
There you go, Bob. Do you have a similar statement to make, or are you going to be a coward?
No, I agree. I mean, I don't.
Anyway, moving on. Non-title programs. I'm intrigued. Do we get something with Alexa, Rhea, Nikki? Any of these women live? Do they get anything at WrestleMania here? Are we going to have a program here with some of these women? Do you think they're all going to be locked in some sort of battle royale? Bobby, what do you think?
I think Rhea and Alexa are going to do something.
Yeah.
As far as everyone else in the chamber, I don't know. They're making Doudrop look like a big deal. I don't know if that's just kind of warm her up for the Battle Royal.
Do you not think, if you're going to do something with Alexa and Rhea, do you not feel like it makes a lot of sense to have Nikki in there somewhere or another as a character?
Yes.
Like a story, a plot point. There's an easy story to tell there, right? She screwed both of them over as tag partners. I don't know. I'd play around with that some. Oracle, what do you think? Anything stand out as potential non-title programs here on the Raw side for the women?
I feel like they've kind of exhausted the Rhea Nikki split at this point
a
little bit.
Fair.
But I will say, if they just had any ability to book or write wrestling television, I hate to go back to that, but if they could do something, even half interesting, they could definitely do some sort of triple threat feud.
Yeah.
And I don't even like triple threat matches, but if they do something like that, I'd be impressed.
Right, because it would be the idea would basically be that Nikki is manipulating two people that she's previously messed around, right? And she's trying to make them fight. She's in the middle of the whole thing. I think Nikki could pull that off. I get why people don't, because she hasn't done much that people have liked the last couple of years. But you get what you get, I suppose. Okay, that match followed Roman Reigns and Billy Goldberg. This one went 6 minutes. I have not seen. Not only have I not seen a clip from this, I haven't even seen anyone talking about this. Was it just was it kind of like the Drew one where it was like a nothing, or did this actually fucking roll quietly? Bob, what do you think?
I actually liked it quite a bit. And there's reasons for it. It might not all be the in-ring stuff. I thought Roman needed a short, quick title defense just because he hasn't had one yet. And those are good to have at some point, especially if Goldberg is retiring after this, which, we'll see. Probably not. But, yeah, it was fine. it was inoffensive. I thought Goldberg actually looked pretty good. The spears connected on Goldberg's end. Yeah, I think I liked it as much as any Goldberg match since the Brock match.
Oracle, what do you think?
This was better than the Drew match.
Good.
This was good. It actually didn't feel like 6 minutes. It felt like 3 or 4, which I think is a good thing. Goldberg was definitely blown up, but the way that they paced the match and the way that they put the spots together was really well done. And I like that Roman, basically choked him out with a guillotine. So I thought that was a strong finish. So yeah, I mean, it was a good match.
If you were Tony Khan, would you bring in Bill Goldberg to wrestle Hook in a 1-minute TV main event?
Yes.
Right answer, Bob. Okay. We look ahead here. What other match would you, Bob? I'll go to you here. Next favorite match of the night of what's left.
Of what's left, probably. Well, that's tough. It's not even like they were bad. Just we kind of hit a lull in the middle. Probably the men's elimination chamber.
Okay, now this one was very polarizing. Pitt will be very mad. Would you believe it? Brock Lesnar beat everyone. I'm told the Seth Rollins pin was absolutely hilarious. He just slaughtered Seth, which I'm happy to hear that. This appears to be a moment in time where the Oracle of Wrestling will once again hit that familiar drum of this is maybe not worth the damage it's causing elsewhere, but Bobby is going to grin wide. I'll go to Bobby so he can grin before you make him grimace here, Oracle. Your thoughts, Bob, as a Brock stan, so to speak.
Well, that's the thing. And that's the thing that I've struggled with repeatedly. Just it's cool to see him win the Rumble. It's cool to see him do this in the Elimination Chamber and be champion again. From a fan perspective, I also understand the other side where he probably shouldn't be doing it, but ultimately that's not my problem as a fan. I mean, and I would have liked this to have a little bit more time. I would have liked to see him kind of mix it up with Seth a little bit, definitely mix it up with Styles more. But then I saw what they were doing for the ending and it made more sense. But I don't know. I enjoyed it, but I also definitely see how, some people could maybe not enjoy it.
Speaking of such, Oracle, I'm sure that you pumped your fist sort of reluctantly when Brock climbed the pod the way he did, because that was an incredible visual. But this has been something you've been consistent on. And I think it's an interesting conversation. He's absolutely run through these guys by all accounts. Your thoughts on what happened here?
It's just he just steamrolls them, man, and it's just it's not good. It doesn't. It's a problem when nobody can. It makes everybody not valuable. It makes them not believable. It makes them almost not worth watching at times, because it's if they're just going to go in there and just take one F5 and be done, what's the point?
Right.
It's not good. Not to mention that they had Theory be the guy who had a fighter's chance to. It's come on.
Well, I think that's just because no one else was going to take the F5.
That's true. That's probably true. That's probably true. Good point, Bob. It's just, I don't know. He's not. What? There's no value in doing that.
That's my question. Yeah.
What's the value in doing it?
Yeah.
None. There is none.
At this point in the game, is his drawing power going to be increased by reiterating that he's better than everyone on the roster? It feels like you've established that many years ago. And he's actually been a relatively impressive needle mover for them on this latest run. But that isn't going to be enhanced by him slaughtering these guys in sad. That's just, I don't know. It's
it doesn't help. It's weird.
Yeah, it's strange.
It's also not consistent. He comes into a chamber match that was 8 minutes long.
Yeah.
And he automatically gets rid of Rollins and Styles. One guy who he barely beat, another guy who's beat him 2 times. I don't know. There's no consistency. It doesn't make any sense.
Now, the other big story here. Sorry, Bob. Do you have something to say? Mate, go ahead.
Well, it just and I'm not even disagreeing with you. I just think anyone else in the match except for Theory could be in the Raw title match at SummerSlam and it'd be fine.
Mm-hmm.
I get it though. He is on, and I think they're getting with it with Roman too, where they're just on levels higher than everyone else, and it probably is ultimately not doing what it should be doing.
What do you think happened with Bobby Lashley? Because I know the story is that shoulder surgery, and Bobby, I love you with all my heart, but you had 10 years to talk about the Brock Lesnar match. I wish you'd have figured out how you was going to take those German suplexes. God bless you, man.
I think that's what it was.
When I read that, I couldn't believe it. I was like, I can't. Anyway, bless him. What do you think happened there? Was this a case of they decided he needed surgery very late on? Or like, did they know immediately after Rumble and he just said, I'm going to Saudi and getting that paycheck, bro? Like, when you actually sit back and think about it, it's like, why did he go and do a 15-hour flight? It's all puzzling to me.
Well,
I don't know.
I don't know. The Viking Raiders.
Well, well, they were fucking home.
They went out to get, and the thing is, when they got jumped, it just, we'll get to it.
I don't know.
Something that happens mid-match.
They, I guess, ran into the problem of, we have a hard 3-hour out, and, didn't realize that beforehand. But that doesn't explain Lashley, obviously.
Why was it a hard 3-hour out? Religious reasons?
I guess so. I just read it. I don't know if it's like a curfew thing there, or they want to end stuff.
The reason I ask is, do we think there is a chance that when they added Brock to this chamber deal, they already knew that Bobby probably wasn't going to make it to Mania, and that's why they did this strange pivot where they took the belt off Brock and he put it back on him? Or is this a case of this was always the plan because there is no Raw title match? Bob, what do you think? What's happened here? Is this an adjustment or is this always the plan and Bobby's just sort of collateral?
I mean, I think it could be both. Just like, this was always the plan, but him getting hurt wasn't the plan.
Right.
Because it kind of felt like Brock was always going to win this. I know we talked about some other options last week, but I don't know, because he hasn't worked on Raw. He hasn't worked since the Rumble, so it's clearly been like,
there you go.
Okay.
So Jay Shields says Meltzer said they knew after Bobby won the belt. So that makes me wonder if Brock was put into the chamber as a direct reaction to that. I mean, I don't know, right? It just, to me, if title versus title was the play, I would have never just took it off Brock. Like, I don't know. It's a weird deal. It's a weird route they took here. The big question is, Brock and Roman, the one thing I like about it being this way, rather than Brock losing again, being screwed by the Usos or whatever, is this is harder to predict than if Brock dropped 2 straight matches and was going to. If Brock dropped both matches, he was winning at WrestleMania.
Yes.
This way round, I think Roman's much more likely. Early read on who's going to win this WrestleMania title versus title match, Oracle.
I've gone back and forth. I think it will be Roman.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping. I don't know.
Right.
I'm like 51-49 right now. It's.
It will be compelling in that sense, though, won't it? It will be compelling.
Yeah, I'll give them that, and I think they've gotten past the point now where I feel like the crowd will be hot because of the role reversed.
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
And because 2-Night Mania, it'll be 3 hours in, and they won't be quite as tired.
Mm-hmm.
Because they'll have a day of not, instead of a 6-hour show, it's like 2-4 hours.
Much better. Okay.
Yeah, I think. Well, I don't know. I'm gonna say Roman right now, but I'll probably come on here once or twice more before Mania, and I'll probably change my mind. So
that's fair. Bob, what about you?
Yeah, I'm thinking Roman right now, just because that champion's going to be on both shows. They're going to be, presumably working 2 matches at the pay-per-view going forward. I just don't really see Brock doing that. Even though he is, inarguably one of their ratings draws, but I think Roman is enough of that too where it can work. I'm gonna go with Roman right now.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask the same question I did for the women's match. What non-title programs do you think we're gonna get on this Raw brand? Are we gonna get maybe Theory working Priest? Are we gonna get what's Seth doing, so on and so forth? Bob, I'll go to you first. Any early kind of idea of where these guys are going for WrestleMania?
I still think Seth's working Cody.
Yeah.
And if Cody ends up not coming in, we'll change that. We'll see what we got. I think AJ's working Edge. Theory and Priest could be interesting. And then, for Riddle,
Randy, right?
Kind of still feels like Randy, yeah.
Yeah. That all makes relative sense. Oracle, any thoughts?
I agree with the 3 big matches Bob said. And I think Priest Theory probably makes the most sense too. The 3 big feuds are going to get a lot of TV time because they don't have a title match. And Edge, AJ, and Cody and Seth are pretty big deals. So I think that they'll those, and of course, Randy and Riddle, they'll do a big turn or whatever. And I actually think it's more interesting if Riddle turns on Randy personally.
Agree.
But and I actually hope they do that. I hope Riddle's like Randy doesn't want to hang out with me and like snaps or whatever. I think that's a much more interesting thing. I think they'll get a better crowd response for that as well. And I actually think it might end up being a better match. Even though Randy's selling is not always his best attribute, I still think it'll be.
I think your concern is you don't want Randy taking a 6-minute heat segment in the middle of Mania. You'd rather it be the other way.
Correct. That concerns me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Although when Randy works as a babyface, he's never much about selling. It's always about like unique counters and stuff, which is actually a fun, unique way to do it. Like kind of when he was in that feud with Christian. So it'll be interesting to see if they go that direction. Priest in theory sounds right. Theory's obviously someone that they're doing a project with, and he's with Vince every week, and I feel like Priest in theory seems like a sensible direction. I agree 4 for 4 with Bob there.
Yeah. Now I have to say, Cody and Seth Rollins is about as good as life as a wrestling fan gets, because I don't care nearly enough about Cody to care about the result. Yeah. But if Cody Rhodes beats Seth Rollins, like I'm not going to do podcasts that day. I'm just going to sit on Twitter and update like 6 different timelines that pop me and just watch them as they cope with Code Man coming back and slaying Seth frickin' Rollins. That sounds like it's going to be magical. So I'm in on all of that. I'm intrigued by the finish of WrestleMania, even if, whatever. So we shall see. Okay. They just advertised Miz's partner review of the opening line, "Adrenaline is in the air." Oh, God. It's thingy, though, right? It's Logan Paul, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Where would you like to go next? Oracle, we have left. We have the Ronda Rousey match. We have the Madcap Moss. That thing that happened to him, God bless him. And we have Becky Lynch and Lita. Where would you like to go next, Oracle?
Let's talk about the women's tag.
Okay, right. So I saw that Ronda had like the gi on, which popped me, and Naomi apparently had a hell of a performance. That's about all I know. Oracle, lead us here. Go ahead.
So I will say this: Ronda looked fine.
Good.
She actually looked fine here. Which I think leaves us hopeful for Mania. Naomi was good. Sonya was good. Charlotte was not that bad, but she was worse than Ronda was. And Ronda, I didn't think Ronda was bad at all. She just, wasn't great or bad. She was just she was competent finally. This was a fine little match. It went too long, but it was fine. Yeah, I mean, Naomi looked good. That was probably the most true comment for anything about that match. Sonya's also I really like Sonya Deville. I think she's very good. But I don't know how often she's going to wrestle with her gimmick.
I don't know, okay, but I'm intrigued by your take on this. Was Ronda in the Rumble a case of more than just rust? It was the first time we'd seen her in a match that wasn't. She couldn't be. It wasn't like you can't fully choreograph someone in the Rumble, right? She had to just kind of fill gaps there. Is that what we saw happen at the Rumble, Oracle? Is it a case of now that she's back to doing stuff that she knows we're going to see her look like the way she used to?
I think that was a big part of it.
Right.
She just doesn't know how to fill those Rumble matches. It has to be worked in a certain way. I just don't think she had any clue how to do it.
In which case, that's their fault almost completely.
Right. Yep.
But that was a case of Brock had to come in 30, so she's going to have to come in at 27. It was a mess, right? That whole thing was puzzling. So I mentioned that to Bob a few weeks ago. Like, those matches that she had in that first run, as much as her selling impressed us, the key was those matches had been put together like meticulously. They had been every step of them had been practiced, which is nothing wrong with that. Bob, your thoughts on this tag match here?
Yeah, I think it was fine. I think Ronda looked good. I think Naomi was very good. And it does make me a little more optimistic for Ronda and Charlotte. And it's really what we're looking for at this point. I don't think Ronda's going to wrestle again before Mania. So it was good to get this one out there and, just kind of get the Rumble out of everyone's mind.
Is this a big match? Is this a hot match? Charlotte and Ronda Rousey?
On paper, yeah. Like,
What paper are we talking about? I don't
like
know, man.
in theory, it is, right? Like, just removing all context, like it's the biggest women's, MMA star against the biggest, WWE women's star of the past 10 years.
What metric are we talking about for Charlotte on that front?
Titles, I guess. I mean,
but that,
presentation.
I get what you're saying, the way they present her.
Manufactured star WWE. I don't think she is the biggest star.
I don't either.
You meant like the way they present her, right?
Yeah, that's where the context comes in. Like,
this to me is a good example of where they that word manufactured is really key, I think. Because I just think this is kind of like a myth they've made up in their own minds here. Like, I really don't think this is that big of a deal. I could be proven wrong on WrestleMania. They could have a huge reaction and it could be this awesome blockbuster match that pops the tickets and they can say the streaming numbers went up for the Oracle. I just don't think this is that big of a deal. I think Becky and Ronda isn't what it was, but it's still a bigger deal than this. Am I wrong? What do you think?
I don't think you're wrong. I think this is not. I don't disagree with Bob because I think he's right in terms of how they present Charlotte. She is the biggest star in history to come in the history of in the last 10 years. I don't think I think Sasha and Becky and Bianca are all bigger stars than her.
Yeah.
Bailey maybe too, actually. At this point.
Yeah.
It's just it doesn't feel that exciting of a match. We have time. I'll say this: 6 weeks without a pay-per-view is real nice.
Yeah.
For Mania, in my opinion, because I got sick. I'm glad the day one thing happened because I think that probably saved us from a March pay-per-view this year.
Yeah.
And the March pay-per-views have hurt the Mania build for years now.
Yes.
Hopefully that's not going to just randomly change. I don't think it will. I think they would have announced something by now.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's a huge plus. Gives us time to get a little bit more excited, maybe, and I don't know, man. This match is not that appealing to me. 4 years ago, would have been. No, not so much.
Is there a genuine case to be made that Charlotte is just like she's very much into the kind of decline as a performer? Because you guys know I don't watch close enough, but I think there's been some signs that she isn't either it's maybe not physical decline, but maybe she's just not as kind of locked in as she was. Like, are we seeing just a lesser performer than what we saw years ago, and it's not going to change, or is this a case of she just needs to get her mind right? Because I heard good things about the Naomi match. Is this a case of motivation, or is it just a case of she's not the same wrestler anymore? What do you guys think?
Yeah, that's really the thing. Because I was going to bring up the Naomi match too. It was very good. So she can still do it when she wants to. So I don't know that it's necessarily a skill-based thing, but yeah, it might be motivation.
Which in many ways is more frustrating.
Yeah.
Right? Considering, how featured she is. That's just Eric, any thoughts on that kind of weird dynamic with her right now?
I don't know what's going on. Like I can't sit here and just make claims or whatever because I don't know. But there seems to be something going on missing in her in ring. The Naomi match was very good. But I don't know, just consistently over time, it's just she hasn't shown me anything in the ring. She's just been bad.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is. I don't know if I don't know if the rumors are true about her politicking. I don't know if she's lacking confidence. I don't know if she doesn't care. I mean, I don't know. But it doesn't seem, she seems off most of the time.
And some of it definitely feels like a lack of focus when you talk about the selling and such, where sometimes she'll just shrug stuff, almost in with disgust, right? She'll shrug off offense. It is interesting for sure. Okay, let's look elsewhere here. Let's go to Bob, Madcap Moss or Becky and Lita next. Would you want to say one of those for last? What do you want to do here?
Yeah, we can just talk about Drew Madcap Moss real quick. It was fine. I'm glad he didn't paralyze himself on that one. Falls kind of into her match where we actually left the ring, so that's always good. it's kind of what it was going to be. It's a bummer that I think Drew Corbin's the Mania match because, it'll be a fine match. I just think Drew can probably do better.
Bro, your delivery doing that line was incredible. Like, it was so sincere and straight laced. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't completely parallel. Yeah, fair. Okay, good call, Bob. That was interesting. What happened to poor Madcap Moss, right? Oracle, am I being unfair to you when I say that my assumption is that you popped huge for that spot?
Oh, it was great.
Yeah,
it was great.
I know you too well. Yeah.
I watched In Your House Season's Beatings and talk about it more on Thursday. But there's a spot where David Boy Smith takes a turnbuckle bump and then bounces off his head, and it ruled. And it's that stuff just pops me. It's just very unsafe. He's very lucky he didn't turn into Sabu or Taz and get it like his.
Hopefully he's good, right? Like there's the
know,
word is that he is, but hopefully.
Yeah. Woo boy. I'll tell you what. I joked on Twitter, but I was being serious at the same time. A few months ago now. Key phrase. You can't be a main eventer without a 4 or 5 month feud with Big Banter Corbin.
Yeah.
And Drew McIntyre is drawn gotten a small stick.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got to go with Happy Corbin for about 6 months, and then it's misery for these. I mean, and I don't even hate Corbin. I do because he's just so overexposed, and they abuse whoever they have, and just God. Do you remember when Roman was in this 6 month feud with him, and then they had Braun was in a 6 month feud with him, and Drew's now in this 4 or 5 month feud with him, and Seth Rollins was in a 4 month feud with him. It was god awful. I mean,
that's the thing about Corbin. Like, he's good if you use him right, but they just kind of go overboard.
I will say though, unless I'm forgetting something, historically, he does those feuds as like when the top guy is waiting for their Mania feud. It appears this is the Mania feud for Drew, that's kind of rough, right? Like,
it's bad.
I don't know. Quick thoughts on. I mean, bless him, he landed on his head on a flat bump, but beyond that, is Moss popping you guys in ring? Like, because he always feels like a guy that like the people see something internally. And I've seen, I watched the day one match, and I thought he worked very, very hard in that match and was pretty good in it. Is this a case of the gimmick kind of distracting people from the fact that he's actually doing a pretty good job, or is it just a miss altogether? What do you guys think as far as Madcap Moss?
Yeah, I think a lot of it's the gimmick. I think he's good. I tell you every time he's on that I think he's good. I think they can really do something there, but I think they're attached to the gimmick at this point, and that's not going to work, I don't think. Oracle, your thoughts?
He's good. He just needs to remember when to tuck his chin and when not to tuck his chin.
Indeed.
That's pretty important. Otherwise, I mean, it doesn't help that he runs around in suspenders.
It's tough.
It's embarrassing. That's terrible. Otherwise, I think he's fine. Yeah.
He very much strikes me as a guy that in a different life would have popped you tremendously on 2009 episodes of Superstars, Oracle. And I mean that as a compliment. So there you go.
Yeah, he would have had great matches with Chris Masters.
There you go. All right. So that gets us to Becky Lynch and Lita. Now, I saw, you talk about device, you talk about polarizing. I saw some takes. Our pal Contrarian Alex was one of the great tweets I've ever seen. I had to delete my screenshot of it because I was so concerned for his safety out there on Twitter land. Was this good or was this like pretend good? Because people like Lita. I genuinely don't know. I've seen opinions on both sides of that. Bob, I'll start with you. Thoughts on this one?
I didn't like it for the first probably 3/4 of it. DM'd Oracle, like, this is pretty bad. They got me back with the final stretch there, but yeah, I don't know. Like, Becky did what she could, but
he's actually got a pretty good rating.
Yeah. And some of the problems we talked about with Lita before kind of showed themselves here, I think, where she might not have it anymore. But ultimately, I was probably too hard on it in the moment. It was probably fine.
So I'm going to go through the matches here, okay? And I want you guys to guess what cage match give it out of 10. Because I feel like you guys are on a different Like they're seeing this show very different. Now, in fairness, some of the people I follow are the same as you, so no insult there. Roman and Goldberg out of 10. What do you think the average rating is?
2.
Oracle.
What?
Roman and Goldberg. What do you think the average rating is on Cage Match out of 10?
5.
A 3.52.
Wow.
The women's
everybody hates Goldberg. Yeah.
factual. The women's elimination chamber.
6.
7.
5.69.
What?
That doesn't seem fair.
When I saw that, I was so stunned because
It's clearly
everyone
the
liked
match of the show.
I'll be honest, like I'm not trying. You guys know me. I'm not doing the bootlicker thing, but like I didn't really see many people that hated this show, and it's got a 2.23 rating. So I was like, man, feels like people really took a turn here. Okay, Ronda and Naomi against Charlotte and Sonya.
3.5.
3.68. Drew and Madcap Moss.
1.
No. This
4.
got 5.35. This is the big
Wow.
pop though. Becky and Lita.
8.
6.28, which is a full half a point more than the women's chamber.
What?
Wow.
Oh my God.
People love Lita. They
Listen,
love Lita,
listen.
man.
Listen. This match, I immediately was annoyed. And I don't blame Becky entirely because she's also bad at it. She's known for this. Joe, I want you to answer this if you can decipher this. She's got the Cena CM Punk problem sometimes of doing what?
Oh, talking. Oh, she's a big
calling
talker.
a spot, shouting and
Yeah.
screaming them.
Yeah.
In fairness, it's Lita. Like But in the first 2 minutes of the match, Becky's calling every spot loudly, audibly. You can hear every word. Lita has no ability to like position herself well. And the grappling was terrible. There's a spot where Lita couldn't get the sleeper hold in, and like it took her like 10 seconds to get the sleeper hold. It was very bad. Like I've seen worse matches in the first 3 quarters. You know what I mean? Worse matches than the first 3 quarters of this match for sure. Many of them, but it was just so uncoordinated and like messy. And there was nothing engaging about it. The last couple of minutes were very good. Where Lita got like Becky went for a moonsault, missed it. Lita hit Twist of Fate, hit her moonsault, big near fall. I will say this though. When Becky just suddenly hit her Uranagi out of nowhere and then just sort of pinned her, it was weird.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, okay, that's kind of anticlimactic after that crazy match. I kind of wish Becky would have just found a new move to win the match with. It wasn't good. It wasn't quite as bad as our friend Alex said. But but I know what he saw. He saw that grappling, and he's the type of guy. I mean, you see something like that, it's just gonna kill his spirit.
I have to throw a flag on a particular play. I saw the go home segment where Becky put the shades on and did that face. You know the face I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And then I saw him here. I saw I can't believe she kicked out, stuff. Is it excessive enough that someone needs to actually pull Becky aside and be like, hey, listen, you're the heel, but like, let's take it easy, let's not do that on all of the near falls. Because I have to say that I'm not here to judge someone's acting. I think Becky has a lot of strengths and a lot of skills. I don't think that's one of them. And to me, and this is just me, I only saw GIFs and all that good stuff, and I haven't watched the Becky match since day one. So what do I know? Or the Rumble actually, but whatever. I think it's borderline like takes you out of the match the way she reacts to these near falls.
Well, somebody said in the chats, edge faces. It's got to stop. It's bad.
There you go. Edge faces.
And you know what? Somebody else brought it up. Ruby Riott does the same thing.
Yes, she does.
Or Ruby Soho.
Mm-hmm.
Got to cut it out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's bad. Adam Cole does the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's not good. Like, it's really cringe. Like, it's not believable. It takes away your suspension of disbelief. It takes it away.
Right. I just, I think it's very. I get her mindset on it. I think, which is like, I'm the heel. I'm going to be this over the top character, and make people kind of just be so obnoxious that people roll their eyes at me. But it's too much, right? It's just okay. I'm glad I'm not alone on that. Bob, anything on the edge faces as they now know?
No, I mean, I wish they wouldn't do it that much too. It does kind of take away from it. Like, get your point across another way, or just keep going.
Do we think Lita is sticking around for more classics, or is this her swan song, so to speak?
I mean, I guess if Bailey's ready, you can do it. Like, I don't know that I would make that. Yeah, I would maybe do a tag, like, instead of it being Bailey's first match back.
Bob wants to hear one more rendition of "So Fuck Your Rose, Man."
It's true.
I saw that. I didn't realize that was that popped me.
I'm not sure if that's. I think that's a joke, but that could be the actual lyric. But I'm pretty sure
I saw the tweet and I was like, "There's no way this is real." I hope it is though. All right, I've just pulled up the Raw preview here. As you said, it is rather slim. Brock Lesnar is going to look ahead to the winner-take-all clash with Roman Reigns. Will he be interrupted? And why will it be R-Truth heel F5? Bob, your thoughts?
That'd actually be great because the one segment they did with Brock and Truth is an all-timer.
Factual. Well, are we going to get a comedy interruption here, Oracle, or are we going to get like?
It'll probably be something like Reggie and.
Oh yeah.
Something like that,
I think it may be MVP actually. They could do the thing where MVP says, his guy couldn't wrestle, and he takes an F5, and God bless. All right. Yeah. We have Rollins and Owens joining forces for a high-stakes match against RK Bro, with a guaranteed Raw Tag Team Championship rematch against Alpha Academy on the horizon. RK Bro going to another high-stakes battle on Raw when they square off against the team of Seth frickin' Rollins and Kevin Owens. The stipulation has been made that if Rollins and Owens are victorious over Orton and Riddle, they will be added to the tag title match, setting up a blockbuster triple threat showdown for the Raw Tag Team titles.
I mean, that'd be a very good match.
It would be good, yes. They're going to win. They make it triple threat, right? That's probably going to happen.
I imagine, yeah.
So, are Seth and Kevin baby faces?
No, I think in this instance, Randy and Riddle are, but like...
Didn't Seth turn babyface? Or was that just Roman feud?
Yeah, I think he was just trying to get into Roman's head a little bit. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Well, I look forward to that blockbuster tag. Anything on that one, Oracle?
The repetitiveness of their booking just...
Yeah.
It makes me want to put my head in a ice pick.
we reserved the Miz TV segment. That's all that's announced. That we assume will be the YouTube gentleman. If it is Cody Rhodes, we may do an emergency live stream to celebrate because that sounds like the funniest possible way to introduce him. That would be unbelievable if they spent that many millions of dollars to bring up Cody so he could team with the Miz. That would pop me tremendously. All right, I want to quickly talk about NXT because they've booked one that popped me. Ciampa and Dolph. With the opportunity on the line to wrestle Bron Breakker, I cannot tell you, and it's not even me saying I'm going to watch it, but I'll definitely like a couple tweets about it. It pops me so much when a guy goes to developmental territory, and Dolph is like the perfect candidate because he's been on their TV forever, but he never did NXT. He did one match with Rusev when it was Full Sail NXT and all that good stuff, glory days. He's going to have good matches. The eventual match with Bron Breakker is going to be fucking awesome. And by awesome, of course, I mean a 3.25 star match that Oracle and I pop huge for in the DMs. I'm going to have a great time with all of this. The segment popped me where Dolph treated Ciampa like he was a high school kid. Incredible stuff. Am I losing my mind here, or does this actually kind of fucking roll? This is like the perfect way to just... I don't need Dolph on Raw for a while, He's been on there forever.
Yeah.
Send him down. Let him do a couple months. It's good shit, right?
Yeah, I think Dolph's gonna win, and then I guess we'll have the
big one.
We'll have the whatever Seek and Destroy, whatever the hell that's called.
Yeah.
whatever the hell that show's called, Save and Return, or whatever the hell it is. What's it called? What's the name of that show?
Stand and Deliver.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Save and Return. I mean, I'm all in on that, man. That's the fight of the century, right? Bob, Bron Breakker, and Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, I think it's gonna rule, and I think Ciampa and Ziggler is gonna rule too.
Dude, here's what you do, okay? Dolph wrestles in a singlet, and he just fucking shoots on Ciampa. Like he fucking shoots a double leg takedown. He just beats the shit out of him. And then you know how like Walter got the mic after and said that he's now Gunter? Dolph does that, and after 10, 12 years, finally gives up the Dolph Ziggler name and becomes Nick Nemeth, the natural Nick Nemeth, and he's a shooter. He wrestles Bron Breakker in like a collegiate wrestling match. He loses after a 45-minute back and forth. You bring him back up to Rory's red hot, good as new, brother. That's the play. That's the pitch. Okay, what do you think, Bruce? What do you think? I love the idea that's how Bruce reacts too. Just sort of like, well,
I like that though. It's a good idea.
Popped me huge after that many years on TV as Dolph Ziggler. He did like the full Gunter thing, like don't call me that. Not anymore. This is very good content. Fun fact: 2015, Rod Strong kind of alluded to the fact that he kind of thought Dolph sucked, which popped me huge. Gonna leave that there. You guys can do your own research. All right. There's something else on NXT I want to reference quickly. There's something else apparently booked.
It's the Women's Dusty Cup.
You got that, but you've also got another dream match. LA Knight and Grayson Waller. I like both of these guys, man. This is good shit, right? Is this good, Bob?
It's fine. I was kind of hoping, when they announced it, LA Knight was just going to be Miz's tag partner or something, but this is fine too.
My God, LA Knight and Miz doing promos together.
Yeah,
they could get like 25 minutes of TV out of that, man. They could do all their catchphrases and stuff.
You get 2 more minutes of Raw clips that Joe will watch.
There you go. There we go, folks. See me like those tweets. You'll see I'm paying attention. All right. Is NXT something you watch at this point, or are you maintaining that it's the worst wrestling show you've ever seen?
There are times when it's very good, and there are other times when it's unbelievably bad. It just depends on how many skit. It just depends on how skit heavy it is. If it's skit heavy, I ain't watching it. Shit.
Yeah. What did you think of the open? So did you see the open of last week's show?
What was it?
It was the one when Toxic Attraction were texting each other.
Oh yeah, that was weird.
Good Lord, man! I watched that and was people were I have no problem with anyone liking any wrestling show, but the idea of this show is supposed to be actually cool, pop me huge. When I was watching that, this is made by old men.
Bob's dog is
evidently
in love with Toxic Attraction. We just heard evidence of that.
Well, check the demo, brother. All right. I think that about does it. We are firmly on the road to WrestleMania. So I'll give both of you guys a chance for kind of final comments, conclusion as to this point. Raw is under an hour away, and that could change all of this, of course. They could do many, many very bad things. They've done it before. I'll be asleep, so I don't have to react to that live on Twitter like I did last time, in which multiple people text me owned with the link that Alexa Bliss was in the Elimination Chamber, which I definitely appreciate. Keep doing that, please.
If Cody debuts, do you want us to DM you?
Oh, yeah. To me, that's glorious, I mean, if Shoot's around, he should actually, if I'm not here and Shoot is, I wouldn't even surprise me if you get an emergency stream if it's something funny. If he actually does something with The Miz, oh my God. Could you imagine? That's the way you bring him in. He does a job to Dominic Mysterio at WrestleMania.
Oh, yeah.
Something the lights.
That'd be outstanding.
There you go. All right. Oracle, I'll go to you first. WrestleMania is fast approaching. Current thoughts on the WWE kind of landscape. Are we looking better than we did after the Rumble, or is this still very, very shaky grounds we're on here? What do you think?
Becky Bianca's a positive.
Right.
The 2 big title matches, I think, are shaky. Or the 2 other big title matches. These are the 3 main events. That's why they were all 3 named, I think, early. But it's shaky. It's a little bit less than after the Rumble, I think. It's not awful or anything. And, it hasn't totally digressed, but it's regressed. There I go again. always get those mixed up. But yeah, I mean, I'm more interested in what these feuds are going to do on Raw, whether it be Ed and Jay or Cody and Rollins or whatever, to make up for the fact that there's no fucking title match there.
Be interesting, man. I've got 3 hours to fill, right? So, if nothing else, they should have some ideas. Whether that will or not is a different thing. No comment as of right now on Corey Graves and Carmella. Bob will have that whole thing covered front to back on the Late Night Grin. Speaking of such, Bob, your final statement here on Fed Dead Redemption.
Yeah, I mean, there's still some moving pieces, but I think Mania is starting to come together at least a little bit on the Raw side. It's interesting because SmackDown, we have like the 3 big matches kind of already figured out between Zayn and Knoxville and Ronda and Charlotte and Brock and Roman, but like Raw's got a lot of interesting things they could do.
Yeah, I think Usos New Day is going to be the SmackDown Tag Title match.
Yeah, which would be fine. Like,
are they going to give them like a ladder or something, like steps?
I hope. So.
Feels like they need something, like they need some juice. They've wrestled a lot, right? It's fine. It's still there as 2 teams. I'll watch it, but yeah. Okay, so it seems to be a little bit more positive. Then is that the overall? Not in the clear by any means, but it's not quite as dark as it was after the Rumble. Okay. Yeah. All right, folks. Well, this has been Fed the Redemption. Enjoy Raw or Elevation, which is on now, wherever you're watching. I'll be back tomorrow, latenightgrin.com for T-Dub Tuesday. We missed a week. We'll be back out tomorrow. We have to book out our world title semi-final matches. Multiple guys in that tournament are now signed by AEW, which is why I no longer play that game because Tony Khan fucking ruins it all the time. Then, in about 24 hours, we'll be back for a dark grin along, right, Bob? You, myself, and Shu. You never know who's going to show up. Maybe Oracle, maybe Jay Shell. We never do know who will want to watch some Michael Nakazawa matches on a Tuesday night. Wednesday, Dynamite preview, Dynamite review, all of the good stuff coming up. Thursday. Now, this is a big one. Oracle, keep us an update here. I know you gave one to me in the DMs. It's looking like we have another historical Oracle on our hands here this week, right?
Correct. It's looking that way.
It's looking that way. Things could change, but it's looking that way. That will be 8 p.m. Eastern time, the Historical Oracle, December. A Bret and Bulldog match that I loved. I'm actually going to try and rewatch this week to make sure that I'm still as hard as I was last time. Now, this Thursday is going to be stacked, though, because before that, at 5, we're doing the free agents. I can't do Friday. I'm going back to the cinema to watch The Godfather. New film I've heard about. Apparently, it's pretty good. I hope nothing crazy happens when I'm in there like happened last time, unless it is something as triumphant as Buddy Matthews, in which case, all fucking hell, I'll go every week. Okay, that's the week ahead. LateNightGrin.com to become a patron for just $1. All that good stuff. Follow myself on Twitter at Joe Holbert, Oracle at King Motivator H, Bobby at Robert O'Neill Bootlicker 34. Okay, Bob, Oracle, this has been a pleasure. Fed not dead for now.